Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy here for the Daily Blob, where I shake my brain and nip nips every day to get some of that dirty YouTube money so I can afford to teach you folks stuff in the real world. Silicon Dojo, silicondojo.com, free to the end user hands-on technology education classes that empower you to do whatever it is you want to do. Next week, we're having a class on AI and SQL in Durham, North Carolina. On the 19th of November, we're going to have a class on web scraping with artificial intelligence. If you're interested in those, take a look at silicondojo.com. Also remember, free to the end user isn't free. The reason that I'm here is I need some money. If you want to help what I'm doing, there's a donor box link down below. Please throw some money in there. Mommy, throw some money in there. The economy is falling apart. Mommy. Oh, so this is getting worse. I mean, I know it's going to get worse. It's going to get much worse because it's math. This isn't politics. This isn't isolationism versus globalization or any of that kind of stuff. It's just good old-fashioned math. The economy is simply going sideways. That's just how it is. But it is starting to be a little nauseating to go down this particular ride again, right? You may have been on a lot of roller coasters in your life, but when you drop over the edge, you still lose your stomach every single time. And yeah, I wonder how this one is going to work out. Because I tell people about the economy, and they pat me on the head in the real world and go, "Aw, that's cute," because their jobs are fine. And you're like, yeah, this could get bad. I think about this because I have a buddy of mine. They are due. He's married. Kids are on the way. House and the whole 9 yards. And it's like, yeah, and we're going into a time period that is probably going to be worse than the Great Recession. Like, what do you say to somebody who right now they're doing fine? Right now they're doing good. And it's like, yeah, you do realize that can change, right? Some of us have experience of being laid off as a pizza delivery driver with a college degree, military experience, MCSE, and the whole 9 yards. It's a hell of a thing. I think that's what a lot of folks out there just don't seem to grasp. Like, it's interesting, right? So this channel is 16 plus years old at this point. I started doing videos in September of 2009, which by the books is essentially when the Great Recession ended. So think about this. If you've been watching my videos, all of these videos have existed after the Great Recession, right? So there's a lot of folks out there that have had, their entire adult lives have been in this tech bull market. And it's hard to explain, like, when things go sideways, because people are like, well, Eli, I am valuable. But the thing is, you're only as valuable as whatever the current market will bear. Like, I laugh about these things only because what the hell else can you do? Like, when I was in Seattle, right? I had military, one of the longest electronic programs the U.S. Army had to offer. I had my bachelor's degree, I had my MCSE, I had 100 hours of Avaya systems training. I built out $500,000 data centers. I've been responsible for traveling all over the country to do stuff. I was sitting in a recruiter's office after the dot-com bust, and in Seattle. And she was looking at my resume. She was like, explain this, because I had a weird resume. Explain this. I explained all this stuff. She was like, wow. She's like, yeah, last year, people like you were getting $85 an hour salary. So this is like 2002 time frame. So we're talking about 23 years ago. People like me were making $85 an hour salary positions. And so I'm sitting there. I know it's a recession. Oh, economic times being economic times. I don't need $85 an hour salary. I can go below that. And then she just looked at me and said, yeah, I have nothing. I'm like, excuse me? She's like, well, the only thing I could offer you is a $10 an hour job where you take a tablet computer, again, 2002 tablet computer, and you ride on the buses surveying people. I mean, that has technology involved. You're like, oh my golly. Then beyond that, right, I had delivered pizza to make my way through college. And I was like, okay, well, I can deliver pizza, right? Pizza always pays the bills. When I was in Seattle, they were like, yeah, I called the pizza place. And they're like, yeah, can you bring a resume to your interview? Like before, when I had pizza delivery jobs, like when I was in the Army, like the easiest pizza delivery job I ever got, I went to this one pizza delivery place just to make some extra money. I walked in, I said, hey, it seems like you need pizza delivery people. They said, yes. I was like, how do I get a job? And they're like, can you be back at 6 o'clock tonight? I walked back at 6 o'clock tonight. They gave me a shirt. I was delivering pizzas. That is how you're supposed to be able to get a pizza delivery job. Oh, Seattle and the .com bust here. No, they wanted to see your resume. Are you qualified to care for our pizzas? Oh, God. And then I was doing that until I got laid off. At pizza delivery. I think that's what a lot of successful people that have been successful, don't quite seem to grasp with what happens when the economy goes sideways. It gets bad. It gets bad in so many ways. I was in U District. I was in the U District ghetto. We had a house with 15 people. We had 15 people in one house. One house in U District. My entire neighborhood is now demolished. It's all mid-rise buildings or whatever now. And that's what happens when things don't work out well. And so I'll be curious to see what this next year is going to be, because it's funny, like my wife and I, we don't have kids, so you kind of hang around the types of people that you are. So again, most of the older people here have kids. We don't have kids, and so we hang out with younger folks a lot in their 30s. And yeah, there's a lot of these 30-year-old tech employees that have done very well. They have done very well. They have been very successful. And I'm curious to see how that's gonna work out over the next little while. Because that's a weird thing too with the recessions. It's kind of like any disaster, right? People that thought that they were secure, that they thought, their foundations were on granite, they get washed away. And then other people that kind of figured they were next in line to get laid off, they get promoted and their careers take off. That's the thing to think about, right? With the Great Depression, there was 25% unemployment, which actually means 75% employed, which actually, weirdly enough, also means that people became millionaires during the Great Depression, right? The Great Depression, right? How you lived the Great Depression really was based off of, what your particular circumstances were at the time. So yeah, but this is just, I don't know. It's getting bad. It's getting like this is what's happening, right? We've talked about this before with the economy, right? The economy is already seized up. The employment market is already seized up. Anyways, I guess we gotta get to the story. So Amazon, coming from CNBC, and everybody else, because it's just fucking reality. Amazon to announce largest layoffs in company history, which have started apparently today. 14,000 people got laid off. They're like, oh my golly, Amazon laid off 14,000 people? Wait for it. That was the first tranche. Apparently, this is going to be 30,000 corporate employees. 30,000 corporate employees, right? I was talking about this a couple of days ago with Target, laying off like 1,500, 1,800 corporate employees, and what that actually means. This is 30,000 corporate employees. So one of the things to think about, again, with Amazon, is you have the warehouse workers, the logistical workers, and that type of thing, and then you have the corporate people. Those are different folks. There's about 350,000 of the corporate folks. So they're going to be getting rid of approximately 9% of all of their corporate employees. So these are the people with $100,000 loans for college. These are the people that buy houses, the people that buy cars, people that put their kids into private schools, and all those kinds of things. And 30,000 of them are going to be cut loose into a job market that is already frozen up. We've already talked about the job market freezing up in the past. It's been frozen up for quite a while, although technically we still have record low unemployment. There's no real hiring going on. The people that have jobs are scared shitless, so they're not leaving the jobs. The companies that are trucking along, they're scared to hire any new employees. So basically we have quote unquote low unemployment, but it's a very static low unemployment. So you're gonna have 30,000 more people coming out into this particular job market. The people that don't feel like this is supposed to happen to them, right? This is supposed to happen to coal miners. This is supposed to happen to those other people, but we did it right. Yeah. Anyways, and it's a hell of a thing. The other thing to be thinking about too with Amazon, right, is you look at the economy and there's supposed to be winners and losers. There's supposed to be winners and losers, right? So you hear about Target eliminating 1,500, 1,800 corporate employees. And what we're told, right, the narrative is supposed to, well, they're the losers. They're the losers, right? Target was the winners between, let's say, 2000, 2010, 2015. You know, with the rise of Amazon, with the rise of Temu and online shopping, they just simply happen to be in the wrong company in the wrong time, right? A curious thing to think about with Amazon, though, is Amazon supposed to be the winner, motherfuckers? This is supposed to be the company of the moment right now. Everything from, getting products, getting food and other products shipped to your house, to Amazon Web Services, the whole 9 yards. So think about this. When the company that is supposed to be winning this game dumps 30,000 corporate employees, what does that mean to the companies that are not winning? And it's, Amazon is preparing to announce sweeping job cuts beginning Tuesday. So I'm recording this Tuesday morning, and apparently 14,000, and again, this is the first tranche, has already been announced. Layoffs will amount to the largest cuts to Amazon's corporate workforce in the company's history, spanning almost every business, according to a person familiar with the matter. Amazon is expected to begin informing employees of layoffs via email Tuesday morning. The company plans to lay off as many as 30,000 staffers across its corporate workforce. Amazon is the nation's second largest private employer, so the second largest private employer with more than 1.54 million staffers globally at the end of the second quarter. That figure is primarily made up of its warehouse workers. It has roughly 350,000 corporate employees. The planned layoffs would also represent the biggest job cuts across the tech industry since at least 2020. As of Monday, more than 200 tech companies have laid off approximately 98,000 employees since the start of the year. So we are in October, so we are at least getting to about the end of the year. But yeah, 98,000 tech employees have already been laid off this year. Amazon has conducted rolling layoffs across the company since 2022, which has resulted in more than 27,000 employees being let go. So since 2022, they've already eliminated 27,000 employees. This will be 30,000 employees on top of that. So that means since 2022, they will have eliminated 57,000 employees. Job reductions have also continued this year, though at a smaller scale. Amazon's cloud, stores, communications, and devices divisions have been hit with layoffs in recent months. The layoffs are part of a broader cost-cutting campaign by Amazon CEO Andy Jassy that began during the COVID-19 pandemic. Jassy has also moved to simplify Amazon's corporate structure by having fewer managers in order to, quote, remove layers and flatten organizations. Jassy said in June that Amazon's workforce could shrink further as a result of the company embracing generative AI, telling staffers at the company, quote, will need fewer people doing some of the jobs that are being done today and more people doing other types of jobs. So yeah, Amazon is now dumping 30,000 people. Right? We had Microsoft this year, dumped 16,000 people. Intel, I think, is dumping like another 20,000 people. Amazon is dumping 30,000 people. We have gone from a market where we were told that employees have all the power in the relationship to the employees being just thrown in the fucking trash by the tens of thousands. Like, this is so not personal, right? When they lay off 1,000 people, you gotta understand, that's not personal. I don't even know what this is in the personal rankings, right? When they're laying off 30,000 people, yeah, you're just part of the mass that is going to be going through the chipper shredder. And I think this is going to get, a lot worse, because one of the things you have to be thinking about this is that is 30,000 people that are not going to be employed. They'll get severance pay or whatever else, but that's going to run out. If these are in, concentrated areas like Seattle, if there's any kind of concentration, again, you have to realize, right? They're paying mortgages. They're paying mortgages that they may barely be able to afford. One of the interesting things coming to Asheville is that a lot of people that moved to Asheville could barely afford the mortgages. And so that's one of the reasons Airbnb took off here. It's like, hey, you can barely afford the mortgage, but if you turn your basement into an Airbnb, then you'll have extra money. Yeah, well, what happens when your main job goes away? Airbnb ain't gonna pay the entire goddamn mortgage, right? So what happens when these people aren't able to pay the mortgages? What happens when they're not able to go to the grocery stores and send their kids to the schools and pay for their cars and all of the knock-on effects? Again, think about this, with tech employees. 98,000 tech employees have already been laid off this year. What are the knock-on effects of that in a world where we still have Trump? In a world where we still have Trump, right? One minute, there's supposed to be 100% tariffs on China coming in November 1st. Now, Besant is coming out and saying that's been delayed to like November 8th. Like what? If you're a business owner, what the fuck do you do in Trump's economy? Like, Trump is so batshit fucking crazy, right? So we have the economic kerfuffle that never really ended. From the financial crisis, right? After 2009, interest rates stayed way too low. We have what is called the everything bubble. Basically, the idea, the value of everything went up too high. Equity is too high. Stocks are too high. Real estate is too high. Collectibles are too high. Basically, any asset class that you can invest in, essentially at this point, is in bubble territory, right? We had COVID happen, and then we had Biden. Biden just fucking printing cash, right? You heard Pelosi come out, right? There was a point, right? If you were a family of, if you had two people in your family, and you're making less than $150,000 a year, the federal government was giving you a subsidy check. Right? If you're making $75,000 a year, the government was giving you a subsidy check during COVID, right? Even if nothing had changed about your financial status. You were one of these people that, you had a job before COVID, you still had a job, you were going to work, nothing had changed. Literally, a reporter questioned Pelosi about this, and she said, well, everybody is going through a difficult time right now. And that's why the federal government was printing money and just sending out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to people. And isn't it interesting that the government sends out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to people, and that's when Bitcoin goes to the roof and Tesla goes to the roof, and I'll have other asset classes go to the roof, because people that frankly did not need any more money are suddenly sitting there with thousands of dollars going, oh, how can I turn thousands of free dollars into even more money? Let's put into Bitcoin and things, right? So we had that under the Biden administration, printing cash. And now we have the Trump administration of that batshit crazy motherfucker just doing whatever the fuck that batshit crazy motherfucker wants to do. And the GOP, the Republicans in Congress, right? Those castrated fucking poodles are more interested in pissing on themselves, pretending to be alpha dogs, than actually do their goddamn jobs. Hey, Republicans! Yeah, I do got a problem with the fucking welfare queens that our government is paying. Hey, Republicans, could you do something about the fucking welfare queens in Congress and actually do your job? But anyways, asking a fucking GOP congressperson to do their fucking job probably will send them into a tizzy. They'll start crying. Oh, no. Right? No goddamn bigger snowflake in the world than the fucking Republican Party right now. You look at them wrong, they fucking blow out a goddamn snot bubble. But anyways, right? So Bush, right? Bush started this mess. Obama continued this mess. Biden supercharged this mess, and Trump is coming in with a goddamn sledgehammer. I don't know what to tell anybody. It's math. None of this shit makes sense. Again, in a time period where the stock market is at all-time highs, housing in the U.S. is a disaster, healthcare in the U.S. is a disaster, education in the U.S. is a disaster, even retirement, which is weirdly, affected by the investment, that is a disaster. The fundamental foundations of our society are fracturing. At the exact same time, stocks are at all-time highs. And is it a surprise when the wheels are gonna come off this little buggy that we have here? And so this is only gonna get worse, right? Amazon laying off 30,000 employees into a stagnant job market. Amazon laying off the people that believed that they were the smart ones. They did what was right. They're being laid off into a market that doesn't give two fucks about your certification, doesn't give two fucks about your degree, doesn't give a two fucks about who you think you are. Right? Yep. Dust off that resume because you might need it in order to deliver some pizzas. Get your pizza delivery job now before there's a rush on pizza delivery jobs. And yeah, so it's gonna be yeah, it'll be curious to see. Again, we've got this going on. So this is here. They're not threatening this. Again, 14,000 layoffs happen today. The rest are coming down the pike. And the exact same time, SNAP food benefits, right? The government is now in the second longest shutdown in history. SNAP benefits, so basically food stamps, right? The payments for that are supposed to go out November 1st. It is currently October 28th. So if they don't figure something out in like 3 days, food stamps don't go the fuck out. I mean, like, seriously, like people are like, oh, Eli's so mean. He just laughs all the time. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? Like, our government is not going to send funding to the people in our society that need food because of politics. I mean, like, if you don't laugh, you're gonna lose your mind. Beyond the fact, because I know a lot of people like politics, but here's the interesting thing, right? It's like 1 in 8 Americans need food stamps. Our society is failing to such a fundamental degree. Over 10% of our population needs support to feed themselves, much less anything else. And that's now. That's today. Can you imagine what that's going to look like this time next year? Anyways. So what do you think about this? What do you think about Amazon increasing efficiency yet again by dumping tens of thousands of employees? What do you think about tens of thousands of employees hitting essentially a static job market? What does that do? What does that do to areas like Seattle, right? The areas of the country that were winning. What happens when these layoffs hit? Again, remember, when you look at Detroit, when you look at St. Louis, when you look at Cleveland, when you look at what we now call the Rust Belt, right? Those cities were winning up until the moment they weren't, right? I've been to Detroit. Detroit's a bit of a disaster regardless. But if you really want to see a city that's fallen apart, go to St. Louis. If you go to St. Louis, right, they have their main, like, Central Park is one of the most beautiful parks you'll ever be in. Their botanical gardens are one of the most beautiful botanical gardens you'll ever be in, right? You go to so many places in St. Louis, and they're just St. Louis, like, structure, like all the bones are there, all the bone. You're like, wow, look at what this place was. It's been a long time since it was that. And because the economy, the industries that St. Louis depended on, and again, Detroit and Cleveland and Cincinnati and so many of these other cities depended on, they fell apart. And I wonder if we are starting to see the beginning of that with the tech sector. So anyways, I don't know. Put your thoughts down below. If you like these videos, give us a thumbs up. If you hate these videos, give us a thumbs down. Call me amazing, call me a dumbass. Just be a real hotnik and do it down there in the comment section. Give us a strong comment. None of those wussy, weak European comments in my comment stream. Better be a strong American comment down there. Anyways, what I actually do care about, free to the end user. Hey, even during the end times, you can come and learn some artificial intelligence. Anyways, Silicon Dojo, free to the end user, hands-on technology education that empowers you to do whatever it is you want to do in Durham, North Carolina. We're having a class next week on November 5th on AI and SQL, structured query language. November 19th, we're having a class on AI and web scraping. We're going to be doing those classes at least every 2 weeks. Free to the end user. You know, it's not actually free. If you do have some money, there's a donor box link down below. But if you're interested, you can go to silicondojo.com. And yeah, if you've lasted this far, just get your ducks in order. Get your ducks in order. Roll back your spending now. Don't Don't run up the credit card bills. Don't buy that special purchase that's going to take you a while to pay off or whatever else. Maybe go camping instead of going to Disney World, because it's better to have prepared and not be laid off, right? Because then you can just use the money as a down payment in the future. It's better to be prepared and not get laid off than to be completely and utterly unprepared and get laid off. It's bad. Like when I talk about this, I laugh about it. But unless you've been there, again, to have a college degree, to have gone through one of the longest programs in the U.S. Army, right? To have done some very impressive things. And for nobody to give a fuck. Like when I was in Seattle, when I finally left Seattle, I was going for this job as for help desk for this tax software company, right? And so I go there, and it's $9 an hour. $9 an hour for a help desk position. And I was talking to the guy across from me, and he had twice my resume and was willing to commute 45 minutes each way to get the job. That's how badly things fell apart, right? When I went back to Baltimore to try to, I don't know, try to put a few things together, right? I did not think my future was going to be in technology, to be honest with you. If you go back to 2002 time frame, I didn't think, there's no way in hell I thought this was where my future was going to be. It's like you can't, like when I was going through the dot-com boom, you don't understand. I had multiple people, everybody from managers to peers to whatever else. They looked at me and they looked at the quality of my work and they looked at how I did things. And on their own, in different places and different occasions across different states, I had people that looked at me and said, "You're going to be retired in 5 years. You get this shit. You're going to be good in 5 years." And yeah, I got laid off of pizza delivery. All right, I had a buddy of mine. I had a good friend of mine, and he was in his early 40s at the time, and he was about to retire. Like no shit. He was about to retire. He was a couple of months off of retiring. He was like 42, 43 at the time, right before the bubble burst. And when the bubble burst, he could have pulled his money out and been fine, still probably retired, maybe a little bit less money. But like his thought was, oh, this is just a blip. This is just a, right? Oh, it went down a little. It's got to go back up. Yeah, it didn't. So imagine this. This is a guy who had his master's degree in like electrical engineering. He had his MBA too. 2 master's degrees, right? He had been about to retire at 42, 43. I literally helped him move into the Baltimore ghetto. So when I talk about the ghetto, I ain't fucking talking about no Asheville ghetto. I'm talking about Baltimore City ghetto. I had to help move him into the Baltimore City ghetto after he went completely and utterly bankrupt. Right? I still remember the moment that night. I mean, this is a 40-year-old man. And I'm like looking at him as I have to leave him in this shithole. Like I helped him move, and he was like, I was just like, oh, God. I don't want to leave you here, man. Oh my God. He's like, I'll be fine. Right? I just don't think a lot of people are prepared for just the stupidity. Because it's been a long time. Again, if you've been doing things right, it's been a long time. If you look at the YouTube channel, September 2009, I started this YouTube channel as part of the experiment. This was after I shut down my business in 2009. So literally, when you think about how long it's actually been since, quote unquote, the end of the Great Recession, technically, this entire channel has existed in that period of time. And now we're seeing things go sideways, like truly going sideways. Anyways, that's all I got. See y'all later.